the building. Here we go. Grab on that. There we go. So if I'm in building B in this case, third floor, highlighted Studio 2, all the Studio 2 is highlighted on that floor. This graph over here shows me the related data around it, but it's only flooding and filling up part of the information. Continue to slice and dice, have more fun with this. It can be real interesting for people to start investigating through a project where certain things are and how certain information looks. Okay, let's stop the building of this from scratch. I'm going to open up another project because if I'm going through and manually building this all up and spending time or investing time in this, I want to make it reusable. You're not going to want to have to go through on every single project you put together and rebuild all these graphics. So how can you make it reusable? Well, in my case, I've already built up a sheet of information that I want to work with. I've already got a bit of data in there. It's called out as rooms, but I've deleted the rooms table. Delete. Okay, when you delete, no. Try this again. Right click, delete the room table. Here we go. So when you delete the room table here, all of the information, the graphs themselves, the fields that it thinks it's supposed to be able to find, they go away. But it remembers what they were. So if I was to re-import another rooms table from a different project, all these graphs fill out immediately, and I get all the exact same presentations and representations and ability to search immediately. So let's see what it looks like if it's fully resolved. Let me open up a file here. Open. And I forgot where I saved it. Let's see what this desktop content. I think it's inside my same spreadsheet folder here. Residential unit summary, PowerBI. Here we go. So here's my room template. So I have similar graphs, same basic concept. It's only designed to work with A and B right now, but we'll kind of see some extra information pop in when I load this RUS3 table that actually has building X in there as well. So it opens this up again. All this information here doesn't know where its information is because I deleted the table. But let's open it up. Get data from Excel. I'm going to browse back a folder here and grab the RUS3 data that we just exported today. We assembled here today. Grab my rooms table. Oops, click on it. Edit that information, just so I can be absolutely certain that the area here has the right data type. Probably does, just want to make sure. The rest of it, I don't really care, even though I'm going to tell it that I want it to be text, because I just like that, making sure my data is consistent. I'm going to go ahead and save that and bring it in. So everything here fills itself out. There's a couple of other types of things here. I have this little bit of information, it's called a slicer. What this lets me do is, as an end user, where I may not have the ability to change filters over here, I can choose a particular building and get graphs just about that building to fill itself out. So when I make this a bit more public in a moment, somebody else could go in there and start checking. I only want to see information about building B, or I only want to see information about building X. That's it. That's all I want to see. And then you can go ahead and start, seeing that information, or different types of levels that happen to exist inside these different spaces. In this case, because I chose building X, there's only a certain. Oh, come on, let me move this down. Move down. There we go. This isn't quite long enough. Oh, it is long enough. It just was being covered up. So when I choose building X, it explicitly shows me the levels of building X and the units also from building X. If I uncheck this, I end up with levels from other buildings as well. So the data in other charts is automatically sorting itself, re-filtering itself based on choices that I make. If I clicked over here on something, my sunburst chart updates automatically. My pie graph chart down here fills out whatever it was I clicked on for this over here. It's a very nice interactive environment for non-Revit users or clients potentially to take a look at, or you as a BIM manager start clicking through data and seeing where some of this information happens to exist. So I can see in some of your faces out here, some of you guys are like, graphics, cool, super awesome. Some of you guys are like, I don't do graphs, it's boring, it's stupid. Why did I attend this crazy class by this guy who doesn't know what he's talking about? Either way, hopefully it's interesting. Kind of have a couple of ideas what I'm talking about, but whatever. So the filters again, over here you can get much more complex if you need to. I do have another page down here, some information. I deleted the table on purpose. I don't think I'm going to re-import it. One of the things that I had done earlier was I took Windows folder data and imported it in here to see how information kind of slices and dices. It was interesting. You can figure out things like file sizes as absolute values that I could do, overall file size checks, and how many files of a certain type are in a certain folder. And it wasn't really all that interesting, so I deleted the information because it was boring. building information is much more interesting over here. So far, I want to take and pause here for a moment. Any questions on this so far, or comments about it?
Can you change the colors that you're seeing?
To some degree you can. Some of it's kind of auto-filled out. It's kind of like when you drop a default color fill into a Revit file and it kind of gives you some things. There is some background data files in here that enable you to change some colors. It's not visually apparent here right now, but there is some, if you get back into the background code of what that particular graph looks like, it's kind of like web development. There's some styles files you can update and actually expose to the end user so they can pick colors. But it's not natively out here right now.
You were alluding to maybe getting it out of Power BI to something else, like a web page or something?
Yeah. So if you take this file and you do a publish to it, I can publish it directly to Power BI. If I was signed in and had internet connection, I can publish it directly to Power BI. I don't think I can do that right now. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and save it real quick. So I actually just overwrote my template. Oops, I forgot to do an open and save as. Whatever. Presentation's done today. I can just delete the rooms again. No big deal. So once you've saved something out, you can open it up in the Power BI web environment. So give me a moment here as I get signed on. Shut down Power BI. I'm not going to say that. And let's go down here. See if Casino wants to be happy with it. Connect. See what's me on the internet. Midwest University. If you guys don't know about this right here, this is the way to get on the Wi-Fi. You use the MW hybrid or whatever it was called, hybrid 1, and then the username is MU, and the password is capital MU and a lowercase 16. And by that I mean don't shift me down when you type 16 because that's exclamation point and caret sign. So lowercase 16 logs you in. You now have full internet connection. So let's see if I can get to Power BI. I believe it's right here. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I had the wrong address. PowerBI.Microsoft.com. That's the web address. Now again, I'll slide later on over here. I need to get closer to the keyboard now. I have to type a couple things. I'm going to sign in because you have to sign into Power BI to be able to do anything interesting at all. Oddly, it remembered you. Well, that's fantastic. So, does it know me? Yes, it does. Fantastic. It does know me. Cool. So what I'm going to do is open up a file. There is my import data. Now, sorry, this part I'm not quite as practiced on because I haven't played this game as much. There we go. I already have a report uploaded, but I believe I can create a new one. Sorry. There you go, thank you. Get data from an already existing files. It's a local file. Should be one of my Power BI files, so in this case my room template data right there. So I can open this up, it'll import my residential unit summary room template, because I didn't do a save as on that one. So at this point, it's within the Power BI environment, and I can begin to give other people address access to this to start investigating the data. If they aren't signed in, they can see it, they can click on it, but they can't edit it. If they are signed in, you give them permissions to do so, then they can actually start taking a look at the information. So if I open up my residential unit summary here, it shows me a basic layout of a page. And I can do things like pin this to an actual live web page. I can edit the report directly from here. In my case, edit, enable custom visuals. Here we go. In my pie chart up there as well. It responds effectively the exact same here as it did within the desktop version, but now it is able to be used on the web in any web page I desire. So you can put this on a project web page if you want to, have the client start seeing some of the live information about what's developed, percentages of rentable areas versus whatever, filtering the data down per building on a large campus site, whatever. Have other engineers be able to look at information on your project but not be able to actually edit anything. because nothing that I do here affects anything in my Revit project. This is just visualizing the information in different ways that are interesting. So, yeah, I can make this a bit more public for people. And again, pin it to a live web page if I want to. I don't have access to a live testing environment for web pages, so I can't go quite that far, but it can be made available there. Now, the one more thing that I want to talk with you about is other ways of showing this information. Bar charts, okay, boring. Sunburst charts, okay, whatever. Slicing and dicing, whatever. Okay, it's cool and all. You go with different types of information, but what about us on the architectural front that want even more interesting graphics that are still data-based that I can't necessarily generate in Revit and I want to make web-enabled? All right. This is one that, oh, I didn't mean to close that, but whatever. This is one that I haven't dug into a lot yet. I have plans to, want to see what you guys are going to do with it on your projects, perhaps work with you as you do some of this stuff. But one of the custom graphics here, if I want to go learn more about custom graphics, they're free. Okay, you can just go get these Power BI extra cool special visuals. What I'm going to do is actually take a look at the gallery. Where is the gallery? Where's the gallery? Visualizations. Right? No, that's not it. Custom visualizations. Download custom. There we go. So there's a ton of other types of graphs that you can get your hands on. So if I want to take a look at different types of bubble diagrams, I can grab those. Where's the actual diagram page? There's one that I want to show specifically. That's what I want, but it's not actually. Thank you, Power BI. These just visualizations. All right, that's fantastic. This one, can't find it. The one that I was looking for actually is a special visualization that allows you to take your an image of your floor plan, upload it to this custom tools site, subdivide the data inside of there, almost like a floor plan in Revit with their color fills, but it makes it web enabled and puts it into the Power BI environment. So as you start clicking on different rooms, your graphs can respond to that off on the side and start showing you extra information. You can go floor by floor, you can do 3D images of your whole building, click on a certain floor, show data that way, so you can make it again much more visual, much more interactive on that front. Sorry I'm not finding it out here right now, because it's not, either they rearranged your site or I forgot where it was. There was a couple of interesting ones. Also bubble diagramming, by the way. Some of you who do some bubble diagram layouts, maybe just coding inside of Excel first, laying out some numbers. You can bring that into Power BI and start moving some of those bubbles around visually on the screen and then get that information to represent something. And I haven't found a way to export that data back out of Power BI yet. I don't think it's an export type engine, it's more just visualization. But there are some fun things you can do with that in, again, the graph type layout. So, all right. Pretty close to out of time. I want to just open it up to a couple more questions. I know some of you who have been looking at Power BI had a few other questions you wanted to kind of pose about some of this information, and I'm just kind of open it up for that right now. Did you have anything that you wanted to ask? No? Okay. Please.
Does it work with SQL?
It does work with SQL. Yes. In fact, there's very rarely a source that I have found that it doesn't work with. So SQL, MySQL, there's a couple of other data formats out there. It works with things like SurveyMonkey. It works with Salesforce.com, right? So if you have ERP data up on Salesforce, it'll pull data out of there directly and start giving information with that. So there's a lot of things that can work with MySQL, SQL Server. Those will definitely work with Oracle. Works with Oracle.
And then can you establish a data connection and then refresh that data, or do you have to import it every time?
You can actually refresh data, Absolutely. In fact, within the Power BI environment here, if I get back here, one of the features here is refresh, and it'll just go back to whatever the data source is that you imported or linked to in the first place and refresh that data from there. So from Revit, if you keep exporting to the same file, you can just keep refreshing that information or keep building up and expanding on a file. You can just keep refreshing the data and it'll update accordingly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, please.
You have to export all of every single design option separately and dump it into the file and then put it in. And then how does that work when you have multiple iterations of design options that rely on other design options?
That depends entirely on how you're exporting your data. If you are doing a scheduled dump of information from Revit, yes, you'll have to have a schedule per design option because that's how Revit does schedules. If you use a tool like Spreadsheet Link, it doesn't care about design options unless you filter it out specifically. So it can dump all of the information in one data dump, and then import that in and slice and dice it how you like. You could also do a similar thing with Dynamo with its data export. So you don't necessarily have to run multiple exports. The only time you have to run multiple exports is if it's from multiple individual files. So if you had a building that was, say, level 1, level 2, level 3, three separate models, you have to export from each of those three to get a full picture of the whole building. But within that project model, design options and phasing, you don't have to export multiple depending on which tool you're leveraging to do the export.
I guess, if you have A, first question, if you have experience with Tableau, and B, aside from the hefty price point, Tableau and not free, do you see what key differences between Power BI and Tableau?
You know, I actually haven't linked with Tableau much just because of the price point. For me, the biggest difference that I saw right away was the fact that this is free. You know, it's currently a beta testing tool on Microsoft's side. I don't know if they're eventually going to charge for it or not. I didn't see any information they were going to. You know, Tableau is probably a much more powerful tool. It's much more robust. It's been around for much longer. A little more complex to use. I like the fact that I could just open up Power BI in a matter of 15 minutes. I got data from Revit in there with no training and was able to start creating a couple of graphs that I felt were somewhat interesting for what I was doing at the time. The tool like Tableau, that might not be the case, but not having experience, I can't really speak to it. So, don't
You actually play both.
Yeah.
And so the capabilities of Power BI have accelerated coming to market very quickly. And there's a much smaller gap now than there was a year ago. The price difference is about 8x.
It's what?
About 8x. They do have a paid version.
They do have a paid version for having multiple people collaborate.
And that allows you to automate some of the refresh settings.
Right. Yep. So 8x, 8 times difference. Tableau is 8 times more expensive than the Power BI Pro version.
And Gartner lists both of them in the Video2 next to each other.
What's that?
Gartner Research lists both of the products side by side in the Video2.
Got it. So, all right. Yes, sir.
You didn't talk about how do you stack an image of that graph and then bring it back into Revit and put on a presentation?
Oh, absolutely. So that would just be directly a print command, and you'd have to have an image printer set up on your computer. So there's numerous different ways of making an image printer. Actually, I don't know if you can do a save as directly to an image. I don't think you can. Yeah, no, you can't. So it would be a print command printing directly to an image using a JPEG printer or a paint printer or whatever you want. Yep. All right. Well, hopefully you all found this information interesting. I'm excited to see how many of you are going to use this back in your firms. If you have any questions on it, certainly feel free to give me a call. If you have issues getting data out of Revit in a meaningful way, give me a call. I'm more than happy to help you with that front as well. But certainly, hopefully, you guys will be able to find this useful and use this somehow. Thank you very much.